How in the world has Tennessee gotten to this point in the season by not facing a good throwing football team? And they haven't. This will be by far the best quarterback that they've faced. And how big of a concern is that as Tennessee will face their first competent quarterback in October? John?
Well, I think it's a big concern. Ideally, if you had played a UTSA team at full strength, I think you would have been tested in the secondary. And I think you needed a test going into the rest of the RCC schedule. Frank Harris is a good quarterback, a really good passer. He's proved himself. But we didn't see him in Neyland Stadium last Saturday. But I just thought I guess you could say UTSA's third-string quarterback, Owen McCown, was a good quarterback. He completed 10 straight passes, pretty much carved up UT's secondary, as any competent passer will do, and led the Roadrunners to 2 touchdowns. So I just think in scheduling, even if you don't, you need to schedule strategically. There's not always you can't always be sure about this, but if you see a diverse group of offenses, it gives you, to me, a better sampling on how to judge your team and what needs to be changed. Sometimes it's you need to change your lineup. So I just don't think we know, and I'm not sure we'll know after the South Carolina game, because as good as Rattler is, if he's always on the run, he's not going to be able to pick Tennessee's defense apart.
Caleb, it is a different challenge, and it's rare to go through 4 games without facing a great quarterback, but quarterbacks across the SEC are not really good this year. So I'm thinking of the schedule looking ahead. Other than Rattler, what's a very good quarterback that they'll face this year?
I mean, they're going to face a Bobby Petrino offense, for whatever you guys want to think about that with Texas A&M, but that's it for October. The only concern I'd say with Rattler is that, because I agree with John's point, there won't be a lot of protection, but quite honestly, one of the things that I totally whiffed on, Tennessee's edge rushers have just taken the last 2 weeks off. I don't think Tyler Baird I know James Pierce technically racked up a sack against Florida, but I feel like the edge rushers as a whole didn't even get on the plane to go to Gainesville until after they were down 26-7. And that game screamed for them to get like 7 sacks against Graham Mertz. And then they didn't bother showing up last week against a team that didn't have its starting quarterback. Neither of its backups are that mobile, and they don't have a lot of talent. So if Spencer Rattler, if he's going to struggle, it'll be because he's under pressure. But to be under pressure, Tyler Baird and Roman Harrison actually have to show up, maybe put a little effort in. And I haven't seen any effort from them the last 2 weeks.
John, it brings up an interesting conversation, because if we'd have had this conversation 2 weeks ago, I would have said Spencer Rattler's in trouble because the edge rushers are so good. So what's the bigger concern, given what Caleb said, which is absolutely right, and that is that Tennessee's edge rushers haven't been great. We know their defensive backs aren't great. What's the bigger concern heading into a game against Spencer Rattler?
Well, this team is full of concerns, and you certainly can point out the lack of a rush the past 2 games. Nonetheless, I just go back to that secondary. The secondary was bad last year. It's been bad this year. It's bad in every way. It's not just that he can't cover people. He doesn't tackle effectively either. And I tell you what, if South Carolina had Antoine Wells to go along with Xavier Leggett as receivers, even with very little protection, Spencer Rattler would probably light up this defense. I just don't think Tennessee can handle both of those guys. Fortunately for Tennessee, Wells is injured. He was injured in the Georgia game. So, I just think you can look at all kinds of shortcomings for Tennessee right now, but that secondary is the one that's consistently a problem. It has been for more than a year.
Caleb, your thoughts on that? Portions of the program brought to you by Zen Sports, the new sports book in Tennessee, revolutionizing the way you earn sports betting rewards. That means no more deposit bonuses that turn into deposit nightmares. On Zen Sports, what you see is what you get. With their cash rewards program, you get a lot of cash. For a welcome bonus, earn an unlimited 5% cash back on your betting volume for your first 15 days when you sign up with promo code HOOKED. That's right, HOOKED, HOOKED, unlimited 5% cash back. Keep betting and keep earning with up to 3% cash back on your betting volume every month after that. Refer friends to earn a percentage of their betting volume as cash rewards too. Zen Sports bringing the cash back to Tennessee. So if you bet big on sports, you want to be betting on Zen Sports. Zen Sports betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 and over and in Tennessee to bet. Caleb, I still believe firmly that the secondary is the bigger concern going against a very good quarterback. As pointed out on the message board, Tyler Barron was active. And I think the James Pierces of the world and those guys will show up. I think that, especially last week, UTSA did some things to negate the pass rush. And then against Florida, I thought they did a really good job of negating the pass rush with their approach. So I would think the pass rush would be the lesser of the two concerns heading into this game.
Well, y'all are right. Like, the secondary is the bigger problem, but we know let's just put this out there. We know the secondary is going to be bad. We know that's a weakness. When you have a weakness, you got to expect parts of your strengths to step up. I mean, when Peyton Manning was playing with the Colts back in their heyday, he knew the Colts couldn't score that much. I mean, couldn't stop that many. He knew the Colts couldn't stop the run that well, so he made sure to get a lead. So, yes, the secondary is the bigger problem. I'm indicting the edge rushers more, though, because they're actually capable of being good, unlike the secondary. And so I think you guys have a point with UTSA to a degree, but again, UTSA had two immobile quarterbacks back there and was a group of 5 team. It's hard for me to give Florida. There looked like a complete lack of focus and effort when Graham Mertz bounced to the outside. He should not have run for 2 first downs, which he did. That shouldn't happen. Graham Mertz for Wisconsin doing that. So that's nothing but a lack of effort by the edge rushers in that game. And knowing that,
I'm gonna disagree on that a little bit. I don't think it was a lack of effort. I saw a lot of guys unsure against Florida. I think they got out coached schematically, and you guys
were unsure on whether or not to run Graham Mertz down.
Well,
the slowest quarterback they're going to face in the SEC.
I think they were unsure. I saw a lot of guys that were going the wrong direction. I think there were some misdirection things that got them headed the right way. No, I mean, I didn't see it. Sometimes, and John, I think you could speak to this too. Sometimes being in the situations where you're unsure makes it look like an effort issue. I don't know.
Yeah, it does, but kind of like I'm trying to imagine what Caleb is saying, the mental process behind this. If you're rushing a quarterback and you see the quarterback run to the outside, what's going on in the defender's head? Maybe it's, hey, should I go after him and try and run him down? Or maybe somebody else will do it, and maybe I should try and save myself for later in the game.
Or the NFL.
Or the NFL, there you go. So
I certainly don't think
I mean, they don't get to the NFL if they make that decision. So that game screamed for, again, like I said Friday before Florida, I predicted Tennessee would get 7 sacks in the game. I think they got 2. And that game screamed for them to get 7 to 10.
Caleb, are you angry at Tennessee for making your prediction look foolish? That could come into play here. Is the ego involved here?
A little bit, John. A little bit. I'm very, very angry at them for that. But also just in general, again, secondary is just bad. I don't think it's a lack of, although the tackling may be a lack of effort in the secondary, but I don't think they're coached to tackle in the open field, if I'm being honest. I do have a problem with the edge rushers. I don't. I don't think they're I don't think that this secondary is coached to tackle in the open field.
What are they supposed to do when they see a ball carry coming that way?
Duck and cover.
Right toward the end zone. There he goes.
Yeah, it's slightly before Caleb's time, but back in the 80s, they teach you with the whole nuclear Armageddon thing out there with Russia. You're supposed to get underneath your desk. So maybe that's what they're taught to do. Surely not, though, John.
No, that doesn't seem like a reliable defensive theory. I I think maybe the message to the team coming out of the gate against South Carolina is, hey, tackling is important. Remember that.